has $1 bill, 1 quarter, and 2 pennies. How much money does he have? Jaden broke.
But Jaden's parents just got that stimulus check. We about to change Jaden's life. Now, for the sake of time and to utilize an example in this video, let's just say Jaden's around the age of 6 years old, which is 12 years away from the age of 18, which at 18, Jaden's either going to go off to college or forge his own path in life. But either way, I want to talk to you about how we can make a contribution to Jaden's future financially. Now, typically, whenever we're talking about saving and investing for a kid in the future, we're typically talking about 2 different types of accounts. Either a 529 college savings plan or what's known as an UGMA account, which stands for Uniform Gift to Minors Act. Just a fancy terminology or a fancy way of saying it's taxable as compared to the 529 college savings plan, which is tax deferred as long as the money is used for higher education expenses, anywhere from elementary school all the way up to grad school. While both accounts are the same in that they can be used for the investment in the kid's future, they both have some differences. So we'll go through those real quickly here. A 529 college savings plan is always controlled by the adult who opens the account, never the kid. So no matter what age the kid or the beneficiary of the account is, they don't have control, only the person who opened the account. A 529 college savings plan is also always tax deferred, which means that all the growth and earnings that you accumulate within the account, you never have to pay taxes on as long as you pull the money out for higher education expenses. By higher education expenses, that can be anywhere from elementary school all the way up to grad school. Now, for the sake of time, again, please just Google qualified educational expenses, and that'll tell you what the account could be used for during those time periods. Some of the other benefits of a 529 plan is if you have 2 kids, let's just say that one decides they don't want to go to college, the other does. You can always change the account or the beneficiary on that 529 savings plan so you can use it for the other kid, kid B, instead of kid A who decided not to go to college. One of the other bigger benefits is that you can write off the contributions on your state taxes depending on what state you reside in. In this video, or for this example, I currently reside in the state of Oklahoma, so I'm going to utilize the state of Oklahoma as an example. In the state of Oklahoma, you actually can write off up to $10,000 in contributions on your state taxes for a single individual. If you're married filing jointly as a tax status, then you actually can write off up to $20,000 on your state taxes. Now, if you just think for a second, a $20,000 state tax deduction, who do you think that benefits most? Or how was this kind of set up to benefit? You get what I'm talking about. If not, a $20,000 state tax reduction is really set up to benefit someone who's in a higher tax bracket or basically people who are rich. One of the ultimate flexes when you have a 529 account is that you can utilize other people's contributions and write them off in your taxes. So let's think about it. If you have parents that want to contribute to your kid's account, typically they're going to give you cash or even a check, which you can then deposit into your account and then make the contribution. So the IRS doesn't know where the money really came from or originated. They just look at it as though you made the contribution, so you can write it off in your taxes. You're welcome. What are some of the major drawbacks? It's really about 2. One is that any money within the account pretty much have to be used for educational expenses. If not, then you could be taxed and penalized for any withdrawals. The second is that when you open the account, whichever company or institution you decide to open the account with, you're going to be limited to the investments that they basically give you as an option. Now, on the flip side of that, we have the UGMA account. Now, the UGMA account, now let's be honest. I talk to kids a lot. Many of you have kids that you talk to a lot, and you already have the feeling like, this kid ain't going to college. That's where the UGMA account comes into play. The biggest benefit to the UGMA account is that the contributions within the account do not have to be used for educational purposes. It can be used for almost anything and everything that the kid or yourself would like for the funds to be used for. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks to the UGMA account is that the contributions aren't tax deductible, and any of the earnings could potentially be taxed once they get up to a certain level. Also, once a child reaches the age of majority, which in most states is age 18, they now have full access to the account. The parent no longer has full control like a 529 college savings plan. So the 529 account is tax deferred. The UGMA account is not tax deferred. The 529 account has to be used for educational expenses. The UGMA account does not. Also, whenever you're considering financial aid, needs-based financial aid, so those who get Pell Grants, etc., because the UGMA account is considered an asset to the child, it is going to be counted more toward or hurt you more whenever you look at needs-based financial aid as compared to the 529 account, which is considered an asset of the parent because they still have full-blown control over it. Now, you could have a child where you say, some days I talk to him or her and I feel pretty good about college. Some days, I don't know. So what's the best thing to do? Well, you could sort of hedge that bet by opening an UGMA account and making contributions, because you can always transfer the money from an UGMA account into a 529. But once you open a 529 and make contributions, it cannot be transferred to an UGMA account in the future. Now let's talk about how even the smallest dollar amounts and the smallest contributions can make a huge difference for a child. So now, Jaden had $1.27 in the video example. His parents just got a $600 stimulus check. That's $601.27. He's 6 years old, so he has 12 years until the age of 18. Now, typically we say the overall stock market for S&P 500 returns about 10%, but I'm going to be more conservative. I'm going to say it only returns about 5%, right? Because we know we have a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty maybe in the future. Let's just say it only returns about 5%. And let's say Jaden's parents say, you know what? Let's continue to make about a $50 contribution each and every month until Jaden turns to age 18. If we do all of that and we do a calculation, at the age of 18, Jaden's parents will be able to hand him a little under $11,000 in a check, or have an account that has a little bit under $11,000 accessible for Jaden and his college expenses, or to be able to contribute to his new venture he just started. So the sum, $11,000, would be like, wow, what is that really going to do to college expenses, right? But keep in mind, I used a conservative overall return of 5%. I also said only a $50 contribution per month would take place over this time period. So those contributions would have totaled about $7,000, and the account would have grown to about $11,000 utilizing the numbers that I use. But again, if you're able to contribute more, or if you get more growth out of your investments, that's only going to increase that dollar amount. But the idea is that it took so little to make sure that Jaden's no longer broke. Now, if we want to take it a little bit further, did your parents hand you an $11,000 check when you went off to college? Or when you told them you had a business idea? Did they say, oh man, I got $11,000 I can put into that? No, me either. Definitely no knock on our parents. They did the best they could with what they had, but I'm trying to help change our mindset and how we can do better for the children coming behind us. As I indicated in the beginning of this journey, my goal is to always keep this very short and informative. If you have any questions or anything that you want to talk more about, feel free to hit me up directly. If you're watching this and I ever set up an account for you or your child, please drop a comment or a hand raise or something below. Let the people know I'm not bullshitting or capping about this. I'm really passionate. I really do this and have been doing this for a while now. Also, one of the other things that I always try to do is be supportive of black businesses. So tonight I'm drinking Douce, which I know everyone is drinking more and more of because I can only find a little bottle in the stores. Can't find the larger bottles anymore. Also repping this shirt by my homeboy Frank at Evolving Fitness ATL. So if you're ever in Atlanta, need a gym to pop into or work out at or join, hit them up on Instagram at Evolving Fitness ATL. Again, man, I hope this was helpful. In the next video, I'll talk a bit more about the type of investments that you can look at investing in both accounts or any other types of accounts for a child. Again, man, looking forward to it, and hope you all continue to be safe and stay healthy out there.